You're watching the Retreat Review.
Live from New York.
Then you're immediately like, well, so why didn't the lasers work on the door? And then the next scene, like, you see that, like, that whole mountaintop is gone.
But we're not hooking them up to a machine to...
We're not draining their life energy to keep the planet running. Yes. And Kirk's like, hold on a minute.
Yes, this is Kirk.
I either wait for the Federation or I send out a distress signal, and anybody who comes to this planet, I eat them. I eat them.
Riker had to be, like, over the top and cliche in his, like, actions for the casino.
Do you see it, Enterprise? Do you see it, Enterprise? Sorrow, cry for the children. First and last, first and last, first and last. Delicious.
All Sarek does is goes like this. And
Yeah, he knocks his hand away.
And then the Tellarite's like, ah! Kirk literally, he looks at him and he goes like this.
Program complete. Enter when ready.
Welcome back to another Retrek Review, where each week we talk about Star Trek, and this week we're talking about Season 3, Episode 13, and that episode is entitled Deja Q. It originally aired February 5th, 1990. It was written by Richard Dennis. Richard was an executive story editor and staff writer from a good chunk here of Season 3, from Booby Trap to this episode, and he previously wrote the teleplay with Ron Roman and Michael Piller of the episode Booby Trap. It was directed by Les Landau. Les was a first assistant director for much of the first season, Counter at Farpoint, Code of Honor, Where No One Has Gone Before, Lonely Among Us, The Battle, Too Short a Season, Data Lore, Binary Episode, When the Bow Breaks, We'll Always Have Paris, The Neutral Zone, and then into the second season, The Child, and Elementary Dear Data. But he directed the episodes The Arsenal of Freedom, The Schizoid Man, Samaritan Snare, and The Survivors.
Well,
He's been a part of the franchise for a minute. The synopsis for Deja Q is Q is seeking asylum on the Enterprise after he has been thrown out of the continuum and stripped of his powers. Then we had some guest appearances this week. We had none other than John Delancey as Q.
whoopee.
Almost. Then we had Corbin Burnson as another Q.
Other Q.
He's uncredited in the episode, but obviously we know him.
Q.
He's a well-known actor. We've seen his face in many things. He's probably most known for L.A. Law and Psych. He's in a lot of that. So I think he's also in the Major League movies as well. So he's a face that we've seen before out there in the Hollywood landscape. Then, as Caleb mentioned, we had Whoopi Goldberg as Guinan.
Whoopee.
We had Richard Cancino as Garen, a character actor who, is obviously in things, but it's kind of smaller parts throughout his career.
Yeah.
He does a lot of anime, which is fun. Ones like Bleach, Naruto.
It's cool. The nice thing about being a voice actor in anime is that you can usually get a job because there's 6 billion characters
Yes,
per anime.
absolutely. Yeah, he also voices in Dynasty Warriors, the video game. Pang Tong. He also voices Ricky Dalton, Solomon, and Lorenzo Cabot in Fallout 4.
Oh, I know Lorenzo.
Yeah. So he's busy. He's doing things. He's a part of things. He's out there. Then we had Betty Morimoto. She played the Bre'el 4 scientist. I didn't have any extra information on her, but I assume she's probably similar to Richard, where she's just used a lot for voiceovers and things of that nature. And then Majel Barrett as the voice of the computer. Well, that was the introduction to the episode. But before we move on to supporters and subscribers of the podcast, let's first move over and ask Caleb what Caleb thought of the episode.
What a pile of garbage this episode. No, it's good. I enjoyed it.
I know.
I'm coming around on the Q. I like both Qs. Yeah, no, it's a good episode, and actually it does a lot of really good like data stuff. So I was pleasantly surprised.
Good.
I am gonna give it pretty high this week. I'm gonna give it a 3. A 3.
Whoa!
It was fast and it was inexpensive, and that's how you make Star Trek.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, I mean, those people who don't really like Q, like, period, probably don't really enjoy the episode. But I think in general, I think this is probably, of this season, one of probably the top 5 highest rated episodes of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
I think 2 other episodes beat it and 1 other episode ties it. So, yeah. That's cool. It's an interesting thing. Arguably, you can't enjoy this episode without the episodes that precede it, and because their distrust and being
Yeah.
angry with him wouldn't make sense without the previous episodes. But at the same time, I think this episode does a lot of inroads to the character that help you not hate him as much. Like, he's still terrible. It's not like he flips on a dime and now he's like a completely different character. It's just there's just a different connection to him from the audience.
No, but I appreciate them like trying to make him more relatable.
Right, absolutely.
I think you're right. I think you need to see the previous stuff to appreciate this. I will always come down strongly on the fact that I really hate him in season 1, the court hearing. I don't.
Yeah.
I think we could have done without that episode, and I still would know. I still would understand like Q.
Sure.
Because the thing about his character is he's just chaos. Like, he can just show up and just be
Whatever.
chaotic. But when he first shows up in that episode and he puts everybody on trial for being human, it's just like you just automatically are like, all right, I don't care about this. It's like over the top, and it's like they didn't really know what they wanted him to be at the point, which I get. But
Right.
I mean, I think even last time we saw him, he shows up on the shuttlecraft with Picard, and it's like fun. He's just
Yes.
an agent of chaos, and so I get why people enjoy him.
Right. Well, I think too. And we'll obviously talk about it, but there's a lot of moments in this episode where he says things or he behaves a certain way, and the audience thinks that he does the fun thing that what's popular nowadays, like Deadpool and I don't know, probably She-Hulk and other things like that, where they break the fourth wall, and he doesn't do that exactly. He's not turning to the camera and saying it, but he's getting ever so close to doing that. And I think people just enjoy that kind of stuff when you're dabbling in the area of like making fun of like the show, but also still existing in the show.
Yeah.
It's an interesting balance.
I think he works good as like a good opposite of Picard.
Yes, exactly.
I enjoy when Picard gets irritated by him, I guess.
Yes, I think everybody does.
I am in no mood. Yeah, I like that. I don't know. I don't think that would have been the same like with Kirk. I don't think it would have had that same.
No, it would have ended with punches. It always ends with punches.
But I also think like Kirk would have held in there with him, could have matched his energy a little bit better.
Maybe actually, yeah. Maybe.
And that's not as fun.
Yeah,
as someone who's very, very like stern and by the book hates enjoyment and comical stuff.
Yeah, like obviously it's not the same thing. It's not as well written. In Wedding Bell Blues and Strange New Worlds, we kind of get a Q taste of in the TOS era. But it is sad to say that like there is no Q TOS like thing where it's like going forward you're gonna get like something like that. The closest we get is that Strange New Worlds episode.
We get like mud And we get Cyril Jones. That's
lots of
that's
mud.
that's about all we get.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I mean, honestly, Harry Mudd is kind of the Q of TOS. So I will give you that.
He's always up to something.
He kind of is. Well, that is what Caleb's immediate thoughts of the episode are. But before we get into the bigger review, let's first, right off the bat, come over here at the side and go like, yow! And we thank Ed, Mark Starr, and Captain Olimar for their Patreon support. We appreciate those guys taking some money and sending it our way. We do appreciate that. But we especially appreciate Ed Mark Starr for allowing recently defrocked omnipotent alien entities to help out in the engineering and always looking after his friends when in the time of need. And we appreciate Captain Olimar for, you know what, just not putting up with anybody's BS and trying to solve the bigger matters at hand and maybe showing a little compassion along the way. And as Patreon members, as patrons of this podcast, they have the opportunity, the privilege of having their comments read during the podcast. And so we had Ed Mark Starr comment on our review of The High Ground. Here he says, okay, let's deliver medical supplies to a planet caught in a domestic conflict. How close do you have to get to a war zone to teleport supplies?
Pretty close.
Can't the Enterprise do an Amazon fulfillment and leave the supplies on the doorstep? For the safety of Starfleet personnel, why can't the government of Rutia 4 provide a third-party drop zone like an orbiting space station for critical outside supplies?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because then there wouldn't be an episode.
He says, yes, I know the answer. High drama. Everyone involved with TNG production want high drama in every episode. Explosions, people dying, weapons fire. It's like a Middle East battle on your television, but only for 1 hour.
Yeah. It's mostly just a doctor in a cave.
Mostly. Getting her
for an
eyes
hour.
drawn.
Well, we've never seen that before. Bones never was in caves.
No, never. There's never been a Mugatu bite and he's in a cave taking care of somebody. I'm not a high drama type of guy. I reject contemporary conflicts projected onto a sci-fi television series, despite desperate for social relevance. Yeah, I mean, it's a thing where it's like, I'm not I don't always need Star Trek to be super actiony and like explosion-y and all that stuff, but there are some times when they do that stuff, it's really fun and enjoyable. But a lot of the times, especially in the TV series, like they just do things to just kind of do them. And a lot of it too is just it plays out that way because of commercial breaks. And it's very obvious. Even in this episode that we're going to talk about, like stuff happens, but it's always like cliffhanger, and then we continue the story. It's that 3 or 4 times throughout the entire episode.
These are probably like the first cliffhangers in TV shows.
It's definitely up there. Yeah, that's definitely. They probably started doing that.
Although I think Westerns
in the 70s.
did that.
Yeah, I would say in the 70s it probably became pretty heavy.
Yeah, they already did that. Gene.
Ed will let us know. Ed will tell us when they started cliffhangers.
Yeah. Yes.
High drama is a trick. It's a deception to keep the series from fleshing out the details of the world of Starfleet and the United Federation of Planets. TNG fans learn very little about the world of Star Trek when an episode is dedicated to current social commentary a la the 20th century. Which, yes, I 100% agree. It's fine to call back to things or help the audience understand what this parallels so that we can, like, relate to it. But it always irritates me instead of taking the time to explain or describe things in a way that we understand this is how the future is. They just are like, you remember this thing from 400 years ago? And you're like, but in my timeline, that's only 15 years ago. It's like, oh, okay. It's like, I don't know. I get tired of it.
Even in my timeline, that's 200 years ago.
Right. Exactly.
Why are they referencing stuff that my society doesn't even reference anymore? That's usually how I feel, but I feel like Ed is the type of Star Trek like sci-fi fan though, where He literally would just enjoy a show where it was in space and they just flew around and just helped people and signed peace treaties and like if this was just a totally like normal mundane like
Like
activity.
just a day in, day out show. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he would like that because I think he commented before about how, if this was really like a military ship,
Oh, mhm.
there's a lot of things that would be like different about it.
Yeah. I think too, speaking to that, I think too that like he's probably in agreement that a show like Star Trek presents all of these like big ideas that like they're at peace and there's no money and racism and sexism and
Well, yeah.
ageism and disabilities are gone and there's none of that stuff anymore. It's just like okay, great. And it's just all dialogue, and you don't really see it. And then occasionally one or two episodes a season will be like, it'll peel back the curtain and like show you what their lives are like and how they're not like our lives in the current viewing, timeline, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
And I think for him, it's just like he'd rather see them do the stuff that they constantly talk about rather than it's kind of the same thing over and over again, where it's just like
Yeah.
something terrible is happening on a planet. They go and investigate. One of the characters is basically involved with it heavily, and then it's 25 minutes of them trying to figure out the problem while this character is suffering, the outcomes or the consequences of things happening in the episode, and then they resolve it in 7 minutes. And
That is true. That is typically the formula.
right, and it's like overall, the only reason it went 7 seasons and people don't hate the show is because surprisingly that type of formula over and over and over and over again worked because they wrote well. They wrote good
Mhm.
episodes among the bad episodes, and we started to get episodes like this where they delve into character development. They actually they use things that we've already learned from the show and characters and like now when they do things you're like oh yeah because of these previous episodes this character's had growth or we
Yeah.
understand their decisions. That's what made the show stay alive. But ultimately it's like literally these last string of episodes it's like we're in orbit of Shamron 6 and they're experiencing and then it's like in the next episode starts and it's like we're in orbit of Glimmick 9 and you're
The
like
Federation. I feel like it's been every episode this season, but
yeah,
it's probably only been like three or four.
yeah, right. So
I do feel like that is a thing.
So I don't blame them because I think a lot of the fans would just show us what Starfleet, like the life of the Federation is like. Show us the things that make sense in the world that you've
Yeah.
created. Like
Yeah,
show the
make a
diplomatic
documentary
right.
called
Oh
What is
no.
Starfleet?
No.
Show me
No,
that.
don't do that. The poor ad, don't do that to him.
No, I agree with him. I get where he's coming from. It's just
Yeah.
one of those like that's just what TV is like.
It really is.
There has to be something. I think the hard thing that Star Trek has is like I always say, you give everybody all these like amazing abilities
Yes.
and they're all brilliant. They're all smart. They're from this future society where everything's peaceful. There's no infighting. There's no money. There's no ranking above people. Like people don't covet stuff. People
Right.
are brilliant. They're totally like set on everything. And then you have them go to this war-torn planet and they have to go down there to take 2 boxes of syringes
Yes.
and
Yes.
get captured. And it's
Yeah.
like it's so funny as soon as he said that it was like, yeah, why didn't they just beam the supplies down and be like, hey, let us know if you need anything else.
Yeah, right. Like
Remember Starfleet. And then they take off. Like that's the end of the episode.
right. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
He says science fiction on television was a rare thing in the 20th century, and it's sad to see a TNG episode, quote unquote, hijacked by the concept of terrorists versus freedom fighters. Yeah. He says, I'm giving the high ground a ranking of 1 Akuda. So he still liked it. We appreciate that. And because Caleb and I haven't been currently filming any hailing frequencies open, we'll move on to his last part here of his comment. He says, my popcorn award goes to Carrie Keene as Security Chief Devos. She was no nonsense from beginning to end. Mr. Riker was lucky he didn't get shot. Yeah.
That's interesting.
It is interesting. I appreciate that. She was a very believable character. That's where I totally can agree with that.
She did a really good job of making me not like her.
Right. Which can be an
Yeah,
argument of being a good
that's a
actor.
good actor. Yeah.
So we put the question to you, Caleb. Who does get the Popcorn Award for being the best actor of the high ground?
It's either her or Beverly.
Okay. Okay. Fair.
Yeah, I'll agree with Ed this week. That's a good choice.
Nice. Carrie King.
She was very no nonsense, and she wanted to just kill everybody, and she was very set in her ways.
Yeah, it's tough because sometimes dislikable characters are hard to want to like say that they did a good job, but at the same time, that's the mark of a good actor too. So
Yeah.
and then Ed just followed up with a comment when we were like, "Yeah, you put this in an excellent way. These are our sentiments as well." He said, "Yeah, it's the tremendous effort of the cast as well as the guest stars and all of, like the TNG crew, like the production staff." He said they deserved at least one Akuda from him. So,
Yeah.
so we appreciate
That's
that.
fine.
It is funny. So that was our comment from our patrons. Well, I saw no new subscribers on the YouTube channel, but that's okay. We still thank you for subscribing anyways. We appreciate you choosing to add this channel to your subscription page. And yeah, we look forward to continuing to grow this community. And we're
Yes.
grateful for all of our fans, which is a funny thing to say, sticking it out with us and sharing their own personal reviews.
Our adoring fans.
Our adoring fans.
They love us. I want us to have more Patreons just for the simple fact that I want you to have to like start the episode with like 20 salutes.
And then read like
what I want.
45 minutes of comments.
Yeah. Yeah. I
That
want us to
definitely
have to
won't
start a
bug
new
me.
show.
Yeah.
Hailing
It's
Patreons only.
what do they call it? Secure channel. We'd have to call it secure channel because then that
Yeah.
all the Patreon comments. Yeah. So we appreciate you guys doing all of that for us. And without any further ado, let's get straight into the review. So, as mentioned, we see the Enterprise orbit of Bre'el 4, and they're having the issue of a descending asteroidal moon is going to crash into the planet, and it's causing a lot of problems.
Do you see it, Enterprise?
Do you see it? It's huge and massive. I liked and disliked the thing that they did in the beginning part where the Enterprise crew asks the scientist people questions
Yeah.
and then they answered them, but I could tell like it was a means to explain really common thinking. It was just like, well, just shoot it. And then Data's like, well, that would make things 1,000 times worse. And it's like, or they're like, well, really, what happens if it really hits the planet? It's like, that would destroy everything. It's like, okay, all right, yeah. I like it in the sense that it helps simple people like myself like understand what's happening and the most easiest solutions like, well, those aren't workable or believable. But at the same time, like you said, these are super brilliant people, so it's like they really shouldn't ask those kind of simple questions. So it's like I don't know. But
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
like
I would hope in the 14 years they go to Starfleet Academy that they would learn what happens when a moon crashes into a planet. Although from the trailer for the new show Starfleet Academy, it looks like they're not learning a whole lot of anything.
No.
So I'll let it go.
No.
I knew you'd like that if I brought in
no, you didn't.
new Trek who dis.
Yeah.
New
So
Trek, watch something else.
yeah, Landman. So we get them the posing of using the tractor beam to push it out of its way or to put it back in its orbit, and then
How do you feel about these aliens?
I like their costumes. I like the little like hooded uniform. I like that they have kind of like a fish, something else I can't quite put my finger on. They have like
Yeah, they seem very aquatic.
Yeah, they had like an interesting thing. I know that we were joking about it off camera. I don't love the mouth like prosthetic thing. At the
Yeah.
same time, it was just grateful that they did look a little more
At
alien
least it
than the
was
last like
something.
4 episodes where it's just been like it's just humans with like different color in their hair or like I don't know, whatever. I
Yeah,
mean, Romulans are Romulans, but still, it's just like how many
the
times
white
can we
stripe hair last week was pretty unforgivable.
But it's just like even before that with the high ground, the hunted. It's like the soldier guys had these weird tattoos on their eyes, but other than that, both them and the other people were just humans. They were just
Yeah,
normal looking people. And normally I don't super get bothered by that kind of stuff because whatever production stuff. But like back to back to back to back, and it's like we're going to planet whatever, and they're all just human looking people. It's like it's weird. It's weird
yeah,
because it just makes you think like, well, are these colonists descendants of humans? It's like no, not at all. But
definitely not.
okay.
No, why would you even think that?
I think it's a little I just think it's lazy. It's like at least slap a bigger nose or like give them one eye or I don't know, just
Yeah,
something. Give them 6 fingers. I don't
yeah.
know. Just something.
It's like we always say, it's like you're the one, that made it in be in space.
Right.
Like it's your fault.
Yeah.
It's your fault.
But so they posed the question of using the tractor beam to push the asteroidal moon away, and I like that Jordy says that would be like an ant pushing a tricycle. He's
Yeah.
like it's not impossible, but it's very unlikely.
At least the tricycle has wheels.
Right, exactly, yeah. Then we get a horrible, terrible noise. Naked Q appears on the bridge.
Yeah, that is a bad noise.
It was not a great noise.
Yeah.
And then he slams to the ground naked and he says, Red
Red
alert.
alert. Nobody is shocked or surprised to see a naked Q floating in
Not in the least.
nobody is surprised at all.
Yeah, I know.
Just another day on the Enterprise.
It's a thing where I think for you personally, like a viewer like yourself, and probably a viewer of the 90s, I think that this episode kind of shoots itself in the foot by immediately calling it a Q episode.
Mm,
I think calling it Deja Q is a little too,
a little on the nose.
yeah, it's a little on the nose. So when we go into this episode, you immediately know Q's in it.
Yeah, he's showing up.
And you also kind of had this anticipation of like it's gonna be zany because he's zany.
Yeah.
And I think that if it was called, I don't know, whatever it's supposed to be called, and they didn't
Yeah.
have the name
Disgraced.
right. I then would think, oh, well, you're just anticipating, and then when Q appears, and he's naked, floating in the air, and then he slams down to the ground, you're like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Because you would think this is no different than any of the other episodes that they've had where a terrible natural disaster is about to happen and they're trying to figure it out. And then they learn that there's life on the moon. There's, just something else is going on in the episode. Now that's the B and A story, right? Save the planet, but also don't kill the life forms. Or the asteroidal moon is a giant life form. It's a giant egg or something,
Yeah.
right? Like that's the Star Trek episode and that's what you would be like getting ready for, and then all of a sudden he appears. I just think that I don't know. I just think it kind of like waters down the shock of him appearing.
Yeah, I don't know why they named it like that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a play on the word deja vu, which is
Yeah.
means like here we go again. Like, oh, I thought I've had this feeling before, but at the same time, it's like so the whole episode is based off of the premise that Q is back. Like deja vu, I thought we already had this episode where Q was bothering us and being an irritant. It's
Yeah.
like, nope, he's back again. So deja vu. And I don't know. I don't think it's a strong title for the episode.
No. No, especially because Q is a recurring character.
Right.
It's not like last time I assumed he was gone, like for good. So it's like,
Right, right.
so having this be like, oh, he's back. Like yeah, I figured he would be.
Yeah. Just, I don't know. Just an interesting thing. So we come back from the musical intro. They're on the bridge. Picard and Geordi, we see Q is in, like, they've clearly given him, like, I don't even know, like, weird
Yeah, something on Wesley's
pajamas.
closet.
Yeah, right. And Picard and Geordi are talking, and
I don't
Geordi makes
even
this.
like this.
Yeah, he makes this comment that, and I kind of like that Geordi says that he'll look into see what rules he hasn't broken yet. Basically, like
Yeah.
I'll keep working on it and keep violating policies by Starfleet and safety regulations. Yeah. But we learn when Picard goes back down towards his seat, that Q is no longer a member of the Continuum and that he chose very quickly, made a very quick split second decision to become a human.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. To become a human and to be brought to the Enterprise.
yeah. And then he explains that, because he thinks of Picard and him as friends, and this is where we get the iconic face palm meme.
Yes.
Yeah, the one that like the internet just uses all the time. Yeah,
I was wondering where that came from, so
yeah,
it's nice to see it was a Q
there it
centric.
is. Yep.
Yeah.
So this when it happened, and I rewound it and played it again and showed it to Adrian to remind her. And I was thinking to myself, I really hope right now Caleb is enjoying this and laughing much as I hope he is. So Q is like going on and on about his position, his current condition, and what's happening, and just like rightfully so. Picard and Riker don't even for a
Yeah. Don't
second
care.
believe anything that he's saying, and if anything, just like, can you just fix the problem that this planet is having? Because like we don't care about you trying to play mind games or some sort of weird thing with us. Like, just can
Yeah.
you just do this thing and move on? And he's like, I can't, and blah blah blah, and he keeps going on, and they just don't believe him. And so finally, he ends up saying,
What can I do to prove it to you?
yeah, what can I do to have you believe me? And
Die.
Worf's
What must I do to convince you people?
Die.
Oh, very clever, Worf. Eat any good books lately?
Oh man, just Worf
Oh,
going, die. And then it
very
cuts.
good, Worf. Nice to
Yeah,
see you.
he
Yeah.
said, Q says, "Oh, very clever, Worf. Eat any good books lately?"
Yeah.
I enjoyed that a lot. It is also
Walk.
very,
Walk or I'll carry you.
yeah,
That's another
yeah.
some good
It's a
Worf stuff.
very good Worf line. Yeah,
Yeah.
die. Yeah, it's
No,
good.
Q. I expect you to die. Yeah,
Yeah,
I did.
so
I like that.
Picard just, even with that, he doesn't care. He just sends Q to the brig, and like you said, Worf's like, make your choice because you're going to the brig. They get in the
Yeah.
turbo lift, and Q kind of spirals because he's like, he says all these things like, now I'm gonna experience this, and he says things
I'm
like,
claustrophobic.
yes, he does. I don't like it in here. He says things like sneezing, being ticklish, getting a disease.
Shut up.
Yeah,
Worf yells at him, shut up.
yeah,
Yeah. I find this very funny. I actually enjoy his his spiraling
yeah,
of
totally.
like all this stuff. My hair's gonna fall out. I'm gonna
Yeah,
Yeah, it was very good. It honestly was. Yeah,
it's
I enjoyed it.
it's really funny because then he gets him in there, and the whole time he's talking to Worf, and Worf is just kind of like just taking it, and and then he says something else to him right before he gets in there. You can't leave me in here and all these things, and
Oh, he's telling him that I should have picked a Klingon. I've always felt like a Klingon.
yes,
And he's like, talk to Picard, you and me as fellow Klingons. Tell
yeah,
vouch for me.
yeah, he brings him in, and he then tries to get him to like not leave him there, and then Worf says this like interesting line, and he says like, you have tricked us too many times for us to believe
Yeah.
you, and I was thinking about the previous times he's been on, like he's appeared, and I was like, he's never like overtly lied to them. Like he obviously in the episode where he sends them down to the planet and they play with those pigmen, it was weird. But like once that ended, his purpose was made very clear. He was trying to give Riker Q powers and see like what a human would do with Q powers. And like
Yeah.
he was testing them. And the court episode, like you said, is just him putting them on trial. He's just like a weird person. And then in the one where he sends them to the Borg, like It's just him being like, oh, you think you're so cool and you think you're so ready for what's out here. Like, I'll give you a taste of what's out here and put you back in your place. He's not really like tricking them or like lying to them. He's just being a manipulator, but also, like you said, like he's an agent of chaos. He's just like stirring the pot to stir the pot.
Yeah.
It's just funny. I don't think it was like a bad piece of dialogue. It's just as weird because I was like, I don't really think he's constantly like tricking them, but doesn't really matter.
I don't necessarily remember anything being like too trickery.
Right, right.
I think the Borg thing is probably the worst thing he's done.
Yeah, I mean the moment where everybody's getting killed and then they're fine was not really great in hide and Q, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The Borg part. Well, the Borg thing ended up staying real, so that's kind of where it is actually.
Yeah. Well, the Borg,
thing.
yeah, what it did is it made the Borg like seek out Earth, which is
Right.
not, that's not just a whimsical.
Right. Yeah, and the thing I really like, I was glad this scene was in the episode, was we cut now from the brig because he calls Worf a Romulan,
Yeah. Romulan.
and then Worf just
Should
stands
have
there
been a
like,
Romulan.
and he leaves. And they cut to Picard and Riker in the ready room, and they're kind of going back and forth about what's going on with Q and all, and what's going on the planet. And Picard basically just says like, he's like, well, because Riker poses the thing that obviously this is some sort of like game. He's just messing with us. He's gonna wait until the asteroidal moon is just about to destroy the planet, and then he'll pull everything out of chaos and he'll make some farce out of it and then blip away. And
Yeah.
Picard's like, yeah, I mean, yes, but also like there could be a chance that like he's not. This is true. And Riker's like, you honestly believe him? And he's like, not really, but either way, regardless of what he's doing, whether it's a trick or he is telling the truth, like we
can't just sit around and do nothing.
Right.
On the hope that he's messing with us.
Right, and he's also not going to help us until the very end if he has powers, so we might as well keep trying. And I don't know, I enjoyed that they took the time to write that in the episode. That was like nice.
Yeah, no, I did like that. It goes that extra step of making it feel like more realistic.
Yeah, and I think that honestly is one of the strongest things of the entire episode is for all of the nonsense and foolishness that happens in the episode, it's very realistic to how everybody on the Enterprise would actually react to what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed that.
The overall theme of this episode that I really enjoyed was just like the takeaway of like humanity.
Yes. Also, that's like
like how fragile human life is.
Yes.
We'll get to it in a minute, but there's some really good. The parallel between Data wanting to be human and Q not wanting to be human is very good. It's written very well.
Yeah.
And that's mainly for me like why it's such a high rated episode.
Yeah, totally.
That's the type of stuff. And I didn't feel like he was like over the top, like whimsical and crazy, obviously because he doesn't have his powers, but
right.
He was more grounded, which I appreciated.
Yes, and they also we're going to get into here in the next couple scenes, but like he's also very well written and grounded in what it would be like for him to be this like insane alien entity, and now he's a human. Like
trapped in this mortal shell.
Right. But we end the commercial break with the Enterprise getting scanned with this huge, massive bright light, which was a cool effect, and then we see this little like wispy ball find Q laying down in the brig, and we go to commercial. So now we come back. Picard goes down to the brig to basically, talk to Q and like understand what's going on. And he kind of puts together that Q likely chose this so that they would protect him from alien entities that would, all of the people he's tortured and like abused throughout his existence.
What I find interesting too is that like you assume that the Q people like this is just what they do,
right?
But even they like don't approve of him doing this to other alien species, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, you kind of get this thing that like has his own agenda when it comes to the Enterprise and like humanity and stuff. It's not necessarily what the Continuum is pushing for.
But they're punishing him not just because of that, but like that he's done this to like all these other alien species.
Right. But the funny part while they're having this, like, Picard is trying to have the serious conversation with him, the funny part happens where he's like, I get what you're saying, Picard, but like, hey, I don't know, I gotta tell you that, like, I think something's wrong because, like, I couldn't sit up and I didn't feel good and, like, I couldn't think and then I just, like, I lost consciousness. And he's like,
you fell asleep,
yeah,
idiot.
Picard
Moron.
being so dismissive of, like, you fell asleep, whatever. It's like,
You fell asleep, fool.
and then
how do you do it? It's so scary. How do you do it? You get used to it. Sometimes you even look forward to it. Jesus.
Oh man, just Picard, like, that fine line of being super irritated with him, but also like, but if this is real, like, I have to be somewhat nice to him in a way. Like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I like that.
And so Q convinces Picard to let him out of the brig because he has, basically insane knowledge to help them, like, get out of the situation. So he feels compelled to let Q out, but he assigns Data to Q because obviously Picard doesn't want to walk around with Q all day long, which I don't blame him.
Yeah.
But there's a great part when Data walks in and he tells him everything and, like, you'll be here and he'll help you. And as Picard's walking out of the room, Q's like, can I have a Starfleet uniform? And you just see Picard, like,
pause.
Pause.
You will escort him to Miss LaForge in engineering. Aye, sir. Can I have a Starfleet uniform? What are you looking at?
Then he just keeps walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, like you said, this is the start of Data and Q talking, and, like, things get kind of deep. And honestly, the whole Q part of the story is hinged on their first couple sentences of interaction here, which is what you said. Data makes the comment that basically the thing that you have been disgraced with by becoming a human is the thing that I, like, aspire to be.
This is a line that I may use in the trophy section.
I see.
This was like, yeah, that for whatever reason, that line was like, I was like, that's like really good.
Yeah.
Basically saying like, yeah, you're disgraced and you have this opportunity that like I've only like dreamed about having. It was really good. I was like, man, that's really good.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's a really good. It's good for both of them because you see how Data views humanity. You see how everything that they're doing and everything he's experiencing, you see how he sees it in his mind, and then you see, like, what it would be like if a crazy entity became a human. You're getting to see, like, him not understand things and, like, needing that to be explained to him in a simple way because he doesn't get it.
Yeah.
And they go down to engineering and he's, like, helping them out. And then he's like, oh, I can't move.
Yeah, him immediately having like a back spasm was very funny to me.
Yeah, he's like, what's the word? Ow. And Data's like, yes. He's like, ow.
I can't even stand upright. He gets some good lines into Beverly.
Yeah.
Telling her that her bedside manner is atrocious.
Yeah, before she comes in, he tells them to just change the gravitational constant of the universe. And Geordi's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's not going to happen. And Q's like, what do you mean? And then Data's like, yeah, we don't have that ability. And then Q's like, oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then she comes in, and I really enjoyed this. You probably caught it too. He basically he makes reference that she's back on the ship.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
He said you're back, like you've been exiled back to the Enterprise.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, what an interesting thing. And I was thinking back to Q Who in the Borg episode, and I was like, does he even see or interact with Pulaski in that episode?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't either. But it's an interesting...
But he knows. I mean, he knows everything that's going on. But he knows.
Right. Yeah. It was just like, I really appreciated that they talked about it. And then, like you said, Beverly is really rough with him. That was funny.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Then we have this like really fun like sequence that happens. They go to 10 forward, 10 forward.
Ten
And
forward. 10 forwards.
yeah. And because he says in engineering that like he has a different kind of pain, but it doesn't feel right. It's in his stomach.
Mm-hmm.
He's hungry, basically. So Data takes him to 10 forward so that he can have something to eat, but he doesn't know what that's like. He doesn't understand what eating is all about.
Yeah.
So he wants Data to,
Troy usually eats a lot of chocolate.
yeah, he wants
She's a
Data
woman.
he wants Data to tell him what to eat, and Data's like, well, I can't do that because you're supposed to you eat off of what you're hungry for.
Yeah.
Like, well, what do you eat then? And he's like, well, I wouldn't necessarily suggest it because, like, I find it's good for me. Doesn't mean it's good for everybody. He says that he occasionally ingests semi-organic nutrient suspension in a silicon-based liquid medium to lubricate his biofunctions. And
Yeah.
that was like
Sounds good.
nice. He's like, well, that sounds dreadful. And then they talk about Troy. I think this is a great bit where he says that he's observed Counselor Troy eats a lot of chocolate, and then, for example, she eats chocolate sundaes when she's in a bad mood. He's like noted an improved psychological state in her after she's had a chocolate sundae. So the bartender comes over and he says, "I'll have 10 chocolate sundaes," and she goes, 10? And then
10.
Data
Yeah.
says, "I have never seen anyone eat 10 chocolate sundaes before." And Q says,
He's like,
"I'm in a
I'm in a really bad mood.
When Counselor Troy is unhappy, she usually eats something chocolate. Chocolate? A chocolate sundae, for example. Although I do not speak from personal experience, I have seen it have a profound psychological impact.
I'll have 10 chocolate sundaes.
I've never seen anyone eat 10 chocolate sundaes.
I'm in a really bad mood. And since I've never eaten before, I should be very hungry.
And since this is the first time that I've ever eaten, I'd probably be very hungry.
yeah.
It's such a fun bit, like that whole scene.
It's really
And
funny.
then like, even after like he talks to the guy and that funny thing of the two waiters coming over with 10 sundaes, and he's like, nah, I'm not even hungry anymore. It's like, oh man, that's funny.
It is. It was really well done. Yeah, and I liked it too, and I forgot that she was in the episode because I was like, man, what a missed opportunity to not have Guinan behind the bar when he's ordering the
Yeah,
sundaes because they like hate each other. And then here she is. I
there
was
she
like,
is.
oh wow, that's right, she is in this episode.
See, now
And
that like the title was a good misdirect.
right, exactly.
That like she had a different person running the bar while she was doing other stuff, and she was
Right.
still there. Like that was cool. I
It
was
was
very
very
happy.
cool.
I was like, oh, nice.
Yeah, and so then when she's like, basically like, don't, let this guy die and all this stuff because he's terrible. And
He can like feel her on the other side of the room, and he's like, oh, this is something I wasn't looking forward to.
and they kind of go back and forth about it. And then Data's like, well, Captain Picard is still trying to determine whether or not he's really a human and if what he's saying is true. And she grabs that like space fork and
Yeah,
stabs him right in the hand.
space forward.
She's like, seems pretty human to me. See you later. But yeah, she also has a really good beat with him too, because she tells Q to get used to begging
Oh yeah,
and that
yeah.
he could learn something from Data, basically. Like, yeah,
Get used to begging because that's all that you're going to be doing. Like that's the only way people will help you.
right.
And then she even says like, doesn't she have that line too? Like how the mighty have fallen
I think so, yeah.
after he gets buzzed.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. Yeah, so that life form appears and zaps him, and he's like, "Help me!"
Yeah, yeah. Even after he falls,
Yeah,
he's like, "Oh my God, help me!" It's pretty good. What's their plan? Just to pull him off the ship out into space?
I honestly think they're they're like torturing him. I think they're like encasing him in this like electrical thing and just like basically like torturing him and like overstimulating his nervous system. Because like
Nice.
when he falls to the ground, he's kind of like semi-paralyzed, and then later in the episode when it happens again, he's like he kind of gets like knocked out. So I think they're just like assaulting him in the way that they can, basically.
Well, because the scene in engineering made me feel like they were trying to just like take him off the ship, like into the vacuums of space.
It's possible. They might have also just been taking him up like 2 or 3 stories and then dropping him. Like I don't know. It's possible.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, this is the halfway point. So go down to the comment section and tell us what your favorite Sunday is.
Let us know if you've ever seen anybody eat 5 Sundays.
I'd be surprised if you saw anybody eat 2 or 3 Sundays.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever even finished one, to be honest.
So we learned that the aliens attacking Q and 10 Forward are the Calamarain, and that they have a grievance with Q because he's been terrible to them. This is where Picard basically surmises that Q wanted to be a human to protect him.
Yeah.
And all of these
because he knows like the Federation will have to harbor like him safely.
Right. And also, that's kind of the point of humanity is like now that humanity has become like a peaceful, coexistent, loving planet, Q knows that like they're going to do everything they can to make sure that Q doesn't die or doesn't receive like unjust treatment because that's how they are now. Like in our society now, everybody would just be like, well, he can go burn and who cares? But like in future Star Trek world, it's like, no, the humanity isn't like that anymore. They believe every life deserves a chance to live. So
yeah, it was pretty smart actually.
Yeah. It changes because Q, I think if I remember correctly, I think he basically agrees with Picard. He goes from like he made a last minute split second decision to become human to like, no, he did obviously make this choice for that reason. Like he was being selfish.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand. I don't know. Maybe I just read too much into it. But when they go back to they're in the conference room and Q is like talking about everything. Data says something. Oh, he says that like, well, like Q has helped us with a lot of theoretical like solutions to the problem at hand. And Troy's like, it seems like you have an advocate for you, Q. And Data's just like speaking the
stating
facts.
A fact.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's kind of weird that she kind of in a way, I don't think they intended for it to come across this way. I think she's trying to do the thing that like parents or a counselor would do is like get that person to reason that like, seems like you do have a friend, right? Like maybe don't be so dismissive of people, right? It's like take note of Data here. He's like befriending you and standing in your corner, but instead it comes across like idiot Data.
Yeah. He doesn't know any better. He's a robot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it almost seemed like almost like, oh, Data likes you.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, okay, thanks, Troy. I'm sensing romantic feelings from Data.
Earlier, she says too, right? She tells Picard, she's like, well, I can sense emotion from him. And it's like I'm sensing mainly being terrified. Q's like, wouldn't you be? Basically, I was like,
yeah, yeah, but doesn't that kind of prove it from the beginning?
I mean, yeah, it's a thing where yes, because Data scans him and says he is registering as fully human, and the answer is yes, it does. But you also know that Q kind of can do anything, so
you can
like
manipulate stuff. Yeah.
So you're like, while it does look good on paper, does that mean it's really true?
Yeah, and nobody trusts Troy anyway, so.
Right. Then there's a funny part where, like Picard wants Q to work with them and, if you're gonna, get our protection, like you need to help us with the problem. And Data goes on to explain to him that like, okay, like, well, you have to follow people's orders and like do things. But the part that made me laugh was Q says it's hard to work in a group when you're omnipotent. And
Yeah.
you just see Data go like, "Oh yeah, like yeah, I can see that."
Yeah. Yeah.
And that
As
made
like
me,
the superior being.
yeah. Yeah, that's just a really good part. Then we go back, and obviously the aliens, the Bre'el 4 aliens, are freaking out. And I just thought ultimately, specifically in this scene, in this stretch of act or whatever, I was like, she says, the scientist lady there says, like, they've taken shelter, but even if this thing hits, like, they're not going to survive, and,
Yeah.
like, a shelter won't save them. And I was just thinking, why are we not evacuating these people?
Well, yeah, right. Why do we have contact with them
Right.
if they can't leave the planet on their own accord?
Yeah, it just was a thing where I get like it's millions of people. I understand that. And I get that like you don't want the planet to explode. You want like to save them. I get all of that. But it's like you would think that one, they would have seen this coming for a minute because obviously it took time for them to say, "Oh man, do you see these readings? We better contact the Federation." They contact the Federation. The Federation's
Yeah.
like, "We agree that we feel that this asteroidal moon is going to collide with your planet and destroy everything. We'll send a starship to see if we can fix the problem." And then the Enterprise has to go from wherever they were to here, do their own scans to corroborate everything that they've seen, and then now start formulating a plan to save them. And it's like in all of that time, you probably could have evacuated probably at least half of the planet.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just one of those things like it needs to be solved
Yes, yeah.
by the Enterprise at it's just the whole planetary thing. The only reason that it existed in this episode is to show that Q, like deep down, actually helped at the end of the day. Like that's
Yeah,
the
yes,
only
yes. Yeah.
that it was there.
It's a funny thing that the episode does, to your point, is like we open with the episode and the this thing crashing into the planet you think is the A plot, and then Q appears and that becomes the B plot and Q becomes the A plot.
Yeah.
And in a real sense, the issue with the planet took a backseat, and they didn't write as like strongly for that because they wanted you to focus more on the Q stuff.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed Jordy and Q bumping heads in engineering about,
That was
why do I got to listen to you? And
yeah. I like that. Like you can see that like he's becoming friends with Data. So he hits Data and he's like, who does he think he's talking to? And he's like, well, I forget what he says, but he's basically like
he
he
says,
thinks he's in charge,
yeah.
and he is correct. He is.
Yes. Because he says, like, how does he think he's in charge of me or something like that? It's something to that effect.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, he thinks that he is in charge because he is. It's a really good
pretty funny.
scene. It's really funny too when he's sitting at the table and he's like so bored.
Yeah.
And Jordy
Yeah,
hits him.
he's like, it's like my talent should be, somewhere else. And he's like, no, I need you to flip the switches. Like that's what I need you to do.
Right. Like, no, we don't need you anywhere else. You can be right here.
And he's like, oh, I'm not gonna. He's like, well, you either do that or you get out. Like that, those are your options. Like you're not doing anything else in here.
And so
and I did love that where he's like sitting, he's so bored sitting at the council.
He's like, what are the variants or whatever he says, and then he's like, and he hits him, and he's like, 271, whatever it was. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that was pretty good. I laughed out loud at that scene. Pretty good.
Yeah, it's good. And then the Calamarain attack again. And their attack pushes the Enterprise into the atmosphere.
And Geordi is so doesn't care about what's happening.
No, he really doesn't.
He has that line with Riker before this scene too, where Riker says like, well, if we drop the shields, then they're gonna try to take Q.
This is after. No, it's after this part.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because they're going into the atmosphere, and in order for them to, I think, get enough power or something, they have to turn off the shields to get out of the atmosphere, and that allows the Calamarain to attack Q. And Data makes a selfless act. He grabs on the Q to make sure that they don't hurt him and take him away. which ends up almost killing Data, basically, is what we learn after the
Yeah.
commercial break. Data becomes incapacitated. And then, Q is kind of dismissive of the whole thing, kind of. He's not
Hmm.
like awful, but he's not great about it. He's more
Yeah.
concerned about that happening again, and then he leaves, and then Geordi says to Riker, like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
he's
listen,
not worth it.
he's not worth it." And then Q and Picard talk.
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah,
I like this scene when he talks to Picard.
yeah, it's a
Picard
good.
basically telling him like you don't care about anybody or anything. And he kind of came face to face with like death for the first time in his life. And he realizes that like, yeah, I wouldn't have done the same thing for
Right,
Data.
right. Like when I had to sit and think about it, like I wouldn't have done this.
And it like makes him like ashamed of himself. I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, he says he feels deep shame. Yeah, and then Picard basically is like, well, because like all you ever did was bring misery and torment to not only the crew but others, and he just also isn't really convinced that Q isn't just playing some sort of grand joke.
Yeah.
And then Q goes on to insist that the joke is really been on Q himself, and
Yeah.
that being human has made him a miserable coward, and he is a situation he cannot carry on with.
Yeah. I can't go on like this.
Right. He basically tells Picard that Data is the better human than he is, and he steals the a shuttlecraft, and leaves.
I like that. So he goes in and he tells Data
Oh, that's
specifically.
right. I forgot he goes back to Data. Yeah, that's right. Yes.
And he basically says like, yeah, you're a better human than I would ever be.
Yes.
And then he leaves.
That's right. He says it's to Data, or to Data, not Picard. That's right. He goes in and tells Data that. Yes.
Yeah, I like that. That was cool. This is what I mean. Like, so here's a character that I wasn't in love with when I first saw him.
Sure. Yeah.
But now this is how if you write well, you can endear a character in a
Yeah.
way where you're like, okay, I understand him more.
Yes.
I get him more, and not that I'm rooting for him, but like, you appreciate when he does stuff that's like, wow, he's actually learning.
Right. Yeah. It helps you connect with him more than just being this thing that shows up on the ship and then just does crazy things. It's like he does, like, you understand his thinking process a lot better in this
Yeah,
episode. And I think a testament to how good writing it is, we get a lot more cool character development with Data. Like,
yeah,
you learn how much Data, I mean, really, the whole him wanting to be human is pretty highlighted quite heavily in this episode, and you understand his plight. Like,
yeah. This is the thing that Enterprise always did very well was that why space needs humans.
that's a good point. Yeah.
And this is kind of what it does in this is it's showing Q like this is why like humanity is good.
Yeah, like why we're out here.
Like
Yeah.
the why they're better than you sometimes, you know?
Yeah, and like what humans actually bring to the galaxy. Like what
Yeah.
makes them different than the rest of the people out there. And yeah,
And like how like compassion doesn't make them weak, it makes them stronger.
right.
Yeah, I like that stuff.
Yeah, ultimately, before the commercial break, when Q is stealing the shuttlecraft and off on his way, and Picard is trying to like get him to come back, we learn that basically Q is opting to let the Calamarain harm him. But another thing happens, which is Picard attempts to beam him and or the shuttlecraft back, and then they also try extending the shields to it and putting a tractor beam on it. And to
Hmm.
me, as much as Q was doing, a thing that ends up kind of being semi-compassionate to the Enterprise crew, I really enjoyed the fact that it showed the Enterprise crew like trying really hard to save him, because
Hmm.
that also solidifies how compassionate they are. I think it's
Yeah, it'd be a lot easier just to let him go out there and die.
just let him go and die.
Yeah.
And I think that
Well, that
it's
is a very expensive shuttlecraft.
yeah. I honestly think that this is the kind of dialogue, and this is kind of this is the kind of actions that makes Star Trek different than other science fiction shows. That
Mhm.
like endless compassion and that putting other people ahead of yourself mentality is like not something you get in a lot of other science fiction medium. You know, a lot like if this was Star Wars when we talk about it, like they are two completely different
Yeah.
franchises and different stories, but like you don't really get any of the Rebel Alliance like ever really feeling bad for Imperial officers. Like you don't get that kind of stuff.
No, no, not really.
But it's fine. I mean, it's a totally different story, but like you don't see it in other media like that. Yeah. Just enjoyable.
Yeah,
I
that's a good point. I think at the least, I think sometimes you get a little bit of like Jedi's feeling bad for
yes, yes.
Siths and here and there because of, the way things are. But yeah, it's very far and few in between.
Yeah. The only caveat I could say, like a small argument I could say, is most of the Jedi's that are upset is they're more upset that they're just in the dark, like they've joined the dark side and they're not like Jedi's. They're not
Yeah.
actually upset for the sake of like that person's life. They're not like compassionate to the individual. They're just more upset that somebody has given in to their like their lower
It's
quality
yeah.
emotions.
It's the samurai story where it's you train the pupil and then he becomes bad.
Yes.
And now it's like now your former mentor has to like either destroy you or you kill them. I mean that's what Star
Right.
Wars is.
True.
They explore that stuff more in the Jedi games than in any of the
Oh
shows or
man,
movies.
yeah. It's always so funny that like the video games and the movies and the comics are always more
So
well
good.
fleshed out than the movies.
Yeah, it's because they're made by fans.
Sure. Well, let's hear what others have to say because it's time for trivia.
Oh, not again. All right, now you're overacting.
Michael Pillar recalled our first take on it was that Q lost his powers, came on board, and we developed a whole story about how we were about to come into a war with the Klingons. It turns out that Q didn't really lose his powers after all. He was just playing with us and pulling our strings just so that he could make himself a hero, become an officer, and prove his value.
See, that's lame.
Yeah. It wasn't a bad story, but ultimately we sat down with Gene Roddenberry and Rick Berman,
Yeah.
and Gene said, if you're going to do a story godlike and brought to Earth, then do it. Do a story about what it's like to lose everything that you are and having to discover your own humanity.
Yeah, actually lean into it, right?
Right, exactly. He kind of threw cold water on us and suggested we do it straightforward, and that's what we did. We made it a comedy. We made it fun. But I think it has some extraordinary things to say about humanity.
That's crazy. So that it's easy to pick on Gene about stuff.
Yeah, oh,
But
totally.
there are certain occasions where like he like this where he says something and you're like yeah, like he actually stood this.
Yeah.
Because the whole like oh Q pulled the rug out at the last minute like
Yeah,
I've seen it. I've seen it.
I've
I'm
seen
bored of it.
it. Yeah.
I'm bored of it. Like if that's what this episode was, I wouldn't have been
No, no.
I would not have been a fan of it.
Yeah, it's boring. To have another hide and Q episode is boring.
Yeah.
We've seen it.
Yeah, so it's like, what are you gonna do with Q every time now? He's gonna show up and he's gonna be like, well, I don't have my powers anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Melinda Snodgrass remarked, I always think of Q as Loki. He's
Yeah.
chaos. She says Maury Hurley always thought Q was here to teach us a lesson, to guide us and instruct us. She says, I can understand that to some extent, but I really see him as a mischief maker. He
Yeah.
really just wants to foul Picard's head.
Now, doesn't Melinda play Loki in that RPG game that she
Wow.
plays?
That's
Yeah.
right. I thought
Yeah.
there was some funny connection with Loki with our interview, but I couldn't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. They played it
Yeah,
with
so
George R. R. Martin, right?
it's so crazy to me. I literally think about that all the time. That it's like her and R.R. Martin, and they're like they're playing RPGs together. It's crazy. Yeah, they were playing a game where they were all like
Right.
Greek gods.
That's right.
made human or something. Very, it's
Yes,
almost like
that sounds right.
yeah, it's like this episode. It's like based on this
Yeah.
episode.
Because they were like, but she was like she was playing Loki, but like as a business person or something, or like he
Yes,
ran his own business or something. That's right.
yeah, I
That's
think they
funny.
were like Greek gods that like are human now and they have to like blend into society. It sounds very fun.
It does sound actually fun.
Wish they would record it, put it online. What are they doing?
I'd like to see it.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
That's so
As
funny.
soon as you said that, my brain was like, "Oh yeah, I remember that." So like, she's always had a
Yeah, so that's funny to think
soft
like
spot for
for
Loki.
20, 30 years, she's kind of like, yeah, that's interesting. We didn't get to ask her how she felt about Tom Hiddleston's portrayal. I wonder if she
Oh
feels
yeah,
about it.
no, we didn't. I'm sure she loves him.
Loved it. John Delancey considered the bridge scenes of this episode among his hardest to film. His simulated trumpet playing took several takes,
Oh my god.
and with no way found to fake the scene in which he appears suspended in the nude, he had to do it all natural.
Okay.
So here's
I was gonna say that
yeah.
it didn't even when you said his trumpet playing,
Both.
Yeah, both.
So it says that Delancey had been provided with a G string for modesty before it was determined that the shot would not work otherwise.
Jeez.
And so visual effects supervisor Dan Curry remembered it's one of the few shots we've done that came out looking exactly like the storyboard. I'd picked the spot for the camera in advance, and the scene played out just as I drew it. The script said Q appears nude. We planned to have John Delancey lay on a wooden board that couldn't be seen due to Picard's position in the shot. As we were prepping the shot, John showed up on set with his bathrobe on. When we were ready to go, he dropped his bathrobe and he was stark naked.
Jeez.
That caused a bit of a stir. And I remember when I think it was in Ticonderoga when he was at Ticonderoga. I think he mentioned this, and he had like a slightly different telling of it where he basically said that they had to do it naked, and he didn't really want to do it naked. And then something about with the underwear, like either he didn't know that he was supposed to have a G string or something, so he just kind of went there on the set, and then he got up onto the thing, and then he took off the board.
Yeah.
He was just like, and everybody got upset, and he was just like, "Well, I don't really understand what's happening."
What did you want?
Yeah, he was like, he was nervous and stuff. So I'm not saying that Dan Curry is wrong in remembering what he did. I just like that quote makes it feel like John Delancey was kind of a pervert, and from what I remember, John Delancey was like just very nervous and
Yeah.
filmed the scene.
It's the scene from Meet the Parents where he's about to play pool volleyball, and he's borrowing that
Yes.
swimsuit.
Yes.
Oh man, that's good. That's really good. It's really funny too because remember that was like my remark was like nobody on the bridge seems like they could even care less. So they all were just like stone faced and like, all right, let's get through this scene and
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So
oh,
here's the sketch of that scene, like what they intended for the scene to look like.
Yeah. That's funny to me too that he's like it came out just like my sketch. I drew like a sideways naked guy and that's what we did. I'm like, yeah, good job. That's pretty good.
There you go, sideways naked man.
Yeah. How would that have been covered by anything from Picard's view? God.
I don't know.
I didn't think Picard would be able to see him because of the angle. He's on the same floor, sideways. It's just so funny too because it's like you didn't have to have that scene like from the back view.
No, not at all.
You can just show me like a guy in his torso, and I would believe he's naked.
Right.
You don't need to show his butt. Like you could just have him have underwear on,
right?
And it'd be fine. Like, I don't think. Nope, no option, no other option. And then to blame it on him, yeah, he came out like fully naked, like a weirdo. You wrote the scene. You drew the picture of it.
You did this.
You did this. Yeah. That's got to be a new. That's got to be like a new sticker or a shirt for us. Like you did this. Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny. They'll send you this other picture, just a fun picture I found. It's Patrick Stewart and Brett Spiner
Eating
talking
10
to
Sundays.
talking to each other in the med bay, and
Oh, man, that's cool.
Michael Westmore, that's the guy in the white leaning
Yeah.
over. He's making sure that the prosthetic on Brett Spiner's head is like
Yeah.
blinking and flashing appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
So
Tell me again, Picard. Tell me again the story.
what do you
Of
love
how you
about my
found me.
eyes?
Yeah.
Of how you found me.
Yeah. That's good.
It is good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
His prosthetic looked pretty great, actually.
Yeah, the fun thing I always like about it, they don't always get it right in the show, but a lot of times when they do really cool things where they get that prosthetic to look just right where it actually looks like it's inside of his head. You know how sometimes like they glue stuff on and now
Yeah.
that thing is like 3 inches farther than his head, and you're like,
You can
okay.
tell, yeah.
But there's certain angles and shots and things that they do in the show where you're like, that literally looks like they've opened a panel on this guy's head, and they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool. Then lastly, the Calamarain effect was created by using a sophisticated laser rig rented for one day. A range of footage was produced during that day, which Dan Curry goes on to describe as one of the most enduring investments he ever made, because he went on to use it for elements in anything from nebula to phaser hits to alien transporter elements and creatures, as well as making up part of the tractor beam. So he basically took this laser rig and just filmed as much as he could with it for a full day, and then went on and used the stuff that they filmed to add to special effects, which is cool.
Wow.
Yeah, very good. So that was trivia. We come back. You already kind of said the line. Picard says, "It is a perfectly good shuttlecraft."
Yeah.
Then we see our other guest star appear. Another Q.
Q.
Q!
Hello, Q. Hello, Q.
Yeah. And they have a fun little bit where the other Q notes that our quote-unquote Q has basically committed a selfless act by removing himself from the Enterprise and so on and so forth. And they have an interesting back and forth.
Then I would have to go back and have to explain it, and I have to have a lot of paperwork.
So this is the thing. This is one of the few times that this we come back to this last part before end credits, and everything is wrapped up in a bow. And that's just how it is, and that's how things go. But the thing that I will say is that I like how this is wrapped up in a bow.
I didn't feel like it was rushed or anything like that.
It doesn't break it for me that there's another Q watching him, and like he sees him doing this, and he's like, well, like now what do? I just let this guy get killed, and it's like, and I report back to them like, the Calamarain killed him, but like minutes before he died, he left the Enterprise so that those people wouldn't be destroyed. And it's like, it kind of seemed like he had learned his lesson, and I could have stepped in and saved him, but I didn't. And they'd be like, "Well, great," because they, as you said, the Continuum don't seem like they're mischievous, quote unquote, evil people. They're just entities that exist out there, and they're kind of punishing Q for not behaving that way.
It seemed to me like this was the whole point anyway,
Yes.
right? For him to learn his lesson.
Yes. And that's why in the Strange New Worlds episode that we watched, Wedding Bell Blues, when basically Q shows up as that wispy alien and yells at his son, that it's the same thing. He's now showing up. He's changed. Well, you can't be going around like manipulating people and causing problems and doing all this stuff. Like, you have to learn.
Yeah.
So it's I like that kind of stuff when it comes to the Continuum and Q, and I enjoyed how they took the natural bow placed on the ending and actually made it worth it.
Yeah, I think it was done well for a change.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you can wrap it up quickly, but it actually made sense.
Yes,
and it felt justified that Q learned his lesson, and because his race is actually better than he is, they are giving him his powers back because he actually did something for somebody else.
Right. And I think because he's human, he's actually feeling those emotions. So when he sees that Data saved him, he legitimately is moved by that and feels actual shame. He's not having he's not thinking to himself, well, this is what humans would feel shame, so therefore I must act on this way. He's physically having the feelings of shame and cowardness and being like, well, like if they're going to kill me, I'm not going to let them kill the Enterprise, so I'll just let them kill me because I'm not gonna live like this.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's nice. So they give him that Q or the Continuum, however, give him back his powers. He immediately takes the Calamarain into his hand.
Yeah.
And he's like, if you thought it was bad before, it's gonna be so. And then he's like, and then the other Q. Oh, I just saying goodbye.
That was pretty funny.
And then we cut back to the Enterprise, and a mariachi band appears with Q. And he's like, I feel like celebrating. And Picard's like, I don't. And he gives Picard and Riker cigars, and then they don't like the cigars. So then
That's pretty good. Yeah. The
yeah,
cigars is good.
he gives Riker women, and Riker's like, I don't care about this. And I
Oh,
loved it.
you used to like that sort of thing when you didn't have a beard.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, that's good.
It's really good. Yeah.
That's really like breaking the fourth wall.
Yep, exactly. And then
I love it.
he gives Worf the ladies, and Worf's just kind of whatever about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if we remember in Q hiding Q, Riker goes and looks at Data and he says, "No, please don't. Like please don't make me a human. Like I don't want that."
Oh, yeah.
He tells Riker no, I understand that you're trying to be nice to me, but that would be fake. You're just making me something that I didn't actually achieve. So please don't do that. So now we flash forward to this scene where, Q's like, well, I feel like I'm indebted to you, so I'm going to give you a reward. And he's like, if you're going to make me human, I don't want that. And
He's
Q's
like,
like,
no,
nope, it's not what
I
I'm going to do.
wouldn't. I
Yeah,
wouldn't give you that horrible of a gift.
right.
I
And
wouldn't bestow that wish on anybody. Basically, he's saying like how
right.
bad it is to be human.
Yeah, and so he gives Data the gift of momentary laughter.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It is pretty good. And then they're all like, Data, what, why are you laughing? And he's like, I do not know. But it was a wonderful feeling. Yeah, it's a cool, it's honestly, it's a little touching. And I was like, it's nice.
Yeah, it was good.
And then we learned that Bre'el 4 is saved. The asteroidal moon is perfect in a perfect orbit,
Yeah.
and everything's
Thank
great.
you, Enterprise.
Oh, thank you.
You did so good. What
Yeah.
did we do exactly? Tell us how we did it, so we
Yeah.
can write our reports about it.
Yep. And so
Yeah.
so then this really great part. Did you think it was good too? I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really enjoy the cigars. Anyway, I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And then you have this moment, right, where Picard's like, well, maybe there was something. And then as he says, engage, he puts a cigar in his hand. And he's like, don't even think about it, Picard.
Yeah. It was good.
good.
And I liked too that it was one of those moments that you don't see it coming because the episode's ending. It's literally seconds before the episode ends.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden he's like, all right, in, and then it's like boom, and then there's the cigar with the smoke and Q says it. And you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
It's like, well, he learned a lesson, but he's still Q. That's kind of the thing you take away from it. It's like he's a little different now, but he's still mischievous.
Well, that's what I appreciated about when the other Q shows up. He's like, oh, is that like a selfish act I detect? And he's like, I don't really want to be alive as a human. And he was like, yeah, but probably there's a little thing in it. And he's like, yeah, it was a pretty great selfish act, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I enjoy he's still his cocky self, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because there's that part too, right? In that part where you're talking about where he's like, I mean, John Delancey is like, I don't know. And he's like, "Are you sure it's not just a little bit of a selfless act? Like, because you did all these things." He's like, "Oh, well, yes, it is." Like he catches on that the guy's trying to
Yeah.
like be like, right? Otherwise, you're going to die.
I it's like it's one of those things like we've seen this character like I think it's a Star-Lord thing,
Okay.
right? Where remember in like the first movie where he saves Gamora
Okay.
and she's like, "Well, what happened?" And he's like, you were out in space and I saw you and I just saved you. It was a completely selfless act."
Oh yeah. Yes.
It's
Yeah.
like that it's like that nice moment, but it's also ruined by the fact that like he's wants
Recall.
you to know
Yeah.
that he did like an amazing thing, you know. That to me that's like Q.
Yeah. I'll save all these people,
He'll
but
take the
make sure.
credit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'll save all these people, but just make sure you're erected a statue when it's all said and
Yes.
done.
Yeah. It's like he'll do the right thing, but he wants you to know that he's the one that did the right thing.
Right, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, that was our review of the episode. We appreciate you guys following along with our thoughts. But before we conclude this video, let's do the thing that everyone's been waiting for.
No, they're not gonna hold me down, 'cause I've got faith of the heart.
So, Caleb, who gets the Erica Ortegas Award for being the most unlikable?
The pilot of the Enterprise, the ensign.
The guy at like at the very end of the episode
Yep.
where he says, "Aye, sir."
Don't like him.
Where's Wesley? Get that guy off.
Get this fool out of here. Well, you can either have Wesley or you can have Guinan. And this week we had Guinan.
That's true. Never
You can't
shall.
never both.
Yeah.
Unless Wesley has some minor issue that he has to talk to Guinan about.
Man. I
Yeah.
can't wait from now to be like 3 months from now. We're gonna do a season 3 look back, and I'm gonna be like most unlikable, and this is this guy, and you're gonna be like, I don't even know who that guy is.
No, I'll remember. That's the funny thing. So I'll be like, oh yeah, I hate that guy.
Well, next is the Elizabeth Cutler Award for the most forgettable character of the episode.
Wesley, or do I want to go with O'Brien?
Wow. Okay.
Because they both were not in the episode at all.
Dope.
And I give it to Wesley all the time. So
You
let's
did
say
recently
O'Brien.
give it. Okay, yeah. I say you did give it recently to Wesley. So yeah.
Yeah, I
is
would,
true.
and I will again.
Yeah, it would have been. I agree with you. It would have been nice to see O'Brien do some of engineering stuff or something with.
Well, they didn't need to transport anything, so
That's true. He's just waiting in the room.
yeah, he's just standing there.
Next is the Mugatu Award for the best alien of the episode.
Let's do the fish.
Okay.
The fish mouth guys.
Yeah, I figured you weren't going to give it to the wispy light aliens. I
No,
know you're not a big
lame.
fan of those.
No, I can't stand those. Oh, your brain can't even comprehend this alien species.
It's light.
Like, oh wow. But I can comprehend your budget for the episode. That's pretty funny. Isn't that funny how that correlates?
Yep.
Yeah, it's either that or for Q, and I'll have to give it to the actual prosthetic makeup.
Yeah. Plus, Worf gets it like every episode.
Well, yeah, he's the best alien.
Yeah. No, I agree. I did like that they actually looked, less human in the last couple episodes. So
yeah, it was. We finally got like some actual alien-looking aliens.
Yep.
Nice. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought in space you'd see an alien?
Yeah, it's weird.
Well, next is the Trip Tucker Award for the MVP of the episode.
I think that's a toss-up between Data and Geordi.
Oh, okay. Okay, sure.
Geordi did his job while having to work with Q and keeping his composure.
Yep.
But Data taught Q ultimately what it's like to be a human.
Yeah.
And ended up having Q like sacrifice himself.
Right.
And Geordi just did his job, which he's supposed to.
Yeah.
So let's give it to Data.
Yeah, I think that's a great choice. I think
he even almost died.
Yeah, I think by Data committing a selfless act to save Q, it allowed Q to experience human emotions and motivated him to commit a selfless act.
Yeah.
Selfless act. Yeah, that's good. Well, next is the Spock Award for the best line of the episode.
I think I'll give it to that first one
Oh, where we talked about.
of Data. Yeah. He says, in irony, it means that you have achieved in disgrace what I have always aspired to be. Yeah, I like that. I think it
Yeah,
summarizes it pretty good.
yeah, I think to just tag along with it, I think that the line where he says, there are creatures in the universe who would consider you the ultimate achievement, android. No feelings, no
Mm,
emotions, no pain. And yet you covet those qualities of humanity. Believe me, you're missing nothing. But if it
yep.
means anything to you, you're a better human than I. And I think
Yeah, that's a really good line too.
I think your best comment award couples like that's the other end of that circle of that quote.
Yeah.
Like Data says that to him, and then Q says that to Data. I think it's a good full circle.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you have to give him do both lines for it to be like a full.
Yeah, it's just good. It's just good that those two things like end up. I don't know. They're good.
Yeah. I wonder who wrote those lines.
Hmm.
Hmm. Oh well. We'll never know.
Next is the Shran Award for the best action sequence.
Let's do the one where Data saves Q when Q's like in the air
Yeah.
in
Okay.
engineering.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. He tries to do it in 10 forward too, but he's like learning what's happening because he's also getting like electrocuted, right? Yeah, yeah. But I think with those two scenes, we can definitely put our Palpatine lightning
Ooh.
counter back to 1. So
Yeah, what did we get? We got to a stretch before of what, three
I
in a
think it was
row?
three
Three
or
episodes in a
four in
row
a
that
row.
had.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see what next week comes. You never know. Next is the NX01 award for some sweet chip stuff.
I actually really liked the shot of the shuttlecraft with the alien wispy thing like right behind it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I thought that was cool. Yeah,
Yeah, that is cool.
I enjoyed it.
Well, next is the Porthos Award for the cheesiest thing of the episode.
I think him being showing up naked to start off is pretty
Okay.
cheesy.
Yeah.
He has that line in the turbo lift where he says, I'm forced to be human and I'm, forced to have to wear clothes because of some human thing where
Yeah,
in this time period they really shun that sort of thing. It's like it was funny they like tied it in, but it was just
yeah.
it's just like I don't know. What's the point really?
Yeah, they do play it up again too later. Remember when the other Q comes on the shuttle and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, what a terrible color."
These are horrible. He's like, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so what does that really do other than like showing us the audience that like, yeah, see, he doesn't have his powers. He can't make
Yeah.
clothes. Like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what the purpose of making him be nude. I guess it's supposed to kind of feel like perhaps it's like a symbolism for him being like born. So it's like
Yeah.
he's stripped of everything and made a human, and like they didn't give him clothes or anything. They just like they basically took his Q form, whatever that is, and like just made him a human man, and then just like dropped like that terrible noise was happening and they dropped him on the Enterprise. And it's like, oh well, like here you go.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, lastly, and the final trophy is the Star Trek Enterprise Award for the best scene of the episode.
I really enjoy the Sunday thing.
The Sunday one bit is very good. I will not disagree.
Of 10 Sunday. I also like how they made it feel like it was like such a task for the workers to do 10 Sundays, but also they just went over and said, "Computer, 10 chocolate Sundays, please," and that was it.
I figure at best they had to do like 2 or 3 at a time, like two, and then like have to take them out and put them on trays. Because like what was it, the food slot?
Yeah, food slot. Yeah,
Food slot
Yeah.
is not that big, so yeah.
Yeah, 3 at a time. Also, like They should have just said like, no, you get one.
You get one. We'll see how one goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that also shows no scarcity in the future, right? Like there's no.
No, it's all replicated,
Yeah.
printed junk. I like that scene a lot. I also really enjoy when he goes in and talks to Data. I'm gonna give it to the Sunday scene.
Yeah. All right.
Because the whole scene is good. Even like Guinan stabbing him in the hand, I enjoyed.
Yes. Brett also they're both John Delancey and Brett Spiner, but they're both great. But Brett Spiner's just his deadpan delivery and just playing like a perfect android of him just being like, I have never seen anyone eat 10 chocolate sundaes. He's just, I don't know. It's very good.
It is very good.
Well, excellent. That was what Caleb thought of the episode. We appreciate him taking the time to award certain bits from the episode. He loves it. But now it's your turn to let us know what your review of the episode is. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you want more of it? Or when you were watching this episode, were you like, Deja Q?
Deja Q? No, I don't want to watch any Deja Q stuff.
Deja Q. Let us know down below.
Next time on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Next week's episode
is episode 14 of season 3 of Star Trek: The Next Generation. And that episode is entitled A Matter of Perspective.
Yeah, I saw it.
I already watched it.
Sucks. Join us next week.
Yeah, so we have that to look forward to.
This episode could have been called A Matter of Perspective, couldn't it?
Yeah.
They should have just called this episode Q's in it.
Yeah. Q's a human.
Q, Data and Q.
Yeah.
I wonder what's gonna happen.
I wonder. That's weird.
Yeah. What a weird title.
Well, that's what we have to look forward to next week. That'll be a fun episode to dig into. I'll be curious to see what Caleb thinks. Well, we appreciate all of you guys doing the fun, excellent things down below. We appreciate you sticking with us for this review, hearing our thoughts on it. And so, if you liked this review, make sure to like this video. If you dislike this review, make sure to dislike this video. Share it with all your friends and family and Trek enthusiasts. Subscribe so you don't miss a review, and ring that bell so you can catch a review as soon as it comes out on the channel. And then, when this video is over and you don't feel like watching more reviews, you can always head on over to Caleb's channel. Caleb has a fun prop tutorial channel where he designs things from pop culture. You can go over there and find an item, a thing to make yourself if you would like, or you can just watch him make it. A couple weeks back, he made a video of printing and painting a couple of Pokemon. So if you enjoy Pokemon, you enjoy 3D printing and artistry, like painting them to look good and real, you can head over there and watch that video. It's not too long. But if you just like hearing Caleb and I talk about topics and shows, you can just wait till tomorrow when we talk about the Perfect Cell Saga Part 1 of Dragon Ball Z.
Ooh. Yeah, it's going to be good.
It's going to be really good. So we flipped the script on that where he knows all about Dragon Ball Z. I don't know anything. And you get to hear my fun perspective like you get to hear Caleb's here on this show. So make sure you go over there, find a video, like it, leave a comment, leave a suggestion. Ultimately, whatever you decide, at least please subscribe. We thank Ed Markstar and Captain Alimar once again for their Patreon support. We appreciate those guys sticking with us and being with us for such a long time. It's pretty cool that we have a community like them. And the rest of you as we continue on our voyages through Season 3 of Star Trek: The Next Generation. But until next time when we cover A Matter of Perspective, Caleb, send us out.
All right, computer. End program. Oh.
You're going to watch Star Trek forever, Caleb. No, no.